Hello and welcome. My name is Tom Shima, and today is Thursday, July 2nd. I'm going to be continuing to play the game Persona 3 Reload as a part of my Persona a Day series. That's why I've been playing the game one in-game day at a time as it lines up with the real calendar. I'm going to start off by going over what we did yesterday to make sure we're all coming into today with the same knowledge. Then we'll get into today's gameplay and see where we end up going with that. And after that, we'll come back here to the desk and talk about it a bit more. For those of you watching on YouTube, I will have timestamps in the description in case you want to jump ahead to a specific section. And also, please be aware that this is a full playthrough of the game, so we will be encountering spoilers. Alright then, so let's start off, like I said, by going over what we did yesterday on Wednesday, July 1st. A lot of the day seemed to revolve around various members of the team reminding me that we have a full moon coming up this coming Tuesday, and just making sure that I'm as prepared as possible for that. That started off right at the beginning of the day out in front of the school as Mitsuru stopped me, and she just wanted to make sure that I was prepared. And that kind of gave me a good chance to take mental stock of where I was with things like our inventory of items, equipment, our progress in Tartarus, our levels, all those important factors. And I do feel pretty good. There are a handful of little things I need to address beforehand, but I feel confident right now that I'm not very far behind. I don't feel like there's an immense amount of catch-up I need to play. Just like I said, little things like maybe a bit more medicine, or maybe a level or two for a couple of our party members. But nothing we can't handle between now and then. The school day itself was fairly unremarkable. We've got exams coming up in less than 2 weeks, so we're probably kind of shifting to that mindset of getting prepared for that. And I'll have to kind of try to do the same in and around juggling this incoming full moon. But that brought me to the afternoon, and I decided to spend some time with Yuko. It'd been a little while since we had any time to spend together, and I had that commitment with her to try to coach some elementary schoolers. There were some kids that were trying to practice to run a race against some older students. And the winner got control of the playground, kind of thing. It was 6th graders that were playing soccer, and it was the younger students that wanted to use the playground as well, but they couldn't because the big kids had it. So Yuko and I took them to the high school track where the track team practices, and we were going to coach them. And Yuko really seemed to be the perfect fit for the role. She was able to talk to the kids like equals, to motivate them, to really be on their page. She wasn't using this coach position as some sort of authority figure, and she just really seemed to genuinely care about the kids. She was going over the fundamentals of their proper form, just all the important foundations that they're going to need to actually see results. And the kids were seeing those results, and they were feeling extra motivated by that, which in turn excited Yuko as well, because it showed that her coaching was working. So it's just a very fun, positive feedback loop of both sides motivating the other. And so while they were training, Yuko mentioned to me that she has been having a lot of fun with this. She went to the school library and did all sorts of deep research into all sorts of aspects of proper form and training, and knowing each of the students as well, and kind of analyzing what each student there would need to be the best they could be. And so she seemed to be having a lot of fun with that, and it showed in her delivery to the students as well. It wasn't just some obligation to her that's like, oh yeah, let's just do this and get it done. She was excited, she put the work in, and it was already paying off. At one point, there were a couple students that wanted to keep running, even though Yuko told them to take a break. And they tried to convince her and said, oh, come on, we're here to practice. What's the point of taking a break when we can only practice so many minutes or so many hours a day? And she was kind of unsure at that point. She's like, well, maybe the kids have a point. And she asked me what I thought. And I was taking the other approach. I know that Yuko put in the time and the effort to really build a solid plan. And I suggested, and my voice was to stick with that plan. And that kind of solidified her resolve on that as well. And she just leaned more into that coach role and said, no, you're right. This is the important time to rest. And she kind of talked to the kids about how that resting and recovering is actually an important part of training as well. And also making that deal with them too, about kind of showing them why and saying, if you rest now, your muscles will recover and they'll actually get stronger and you'll see better results next time. So it wasn't just one of those, you'll do this because I'm the coach kind of things. It was explaining to them why and talking to kids like they're equals. And the kids seemed to understand that and appreciate that. They felt even more motivated. And Yuko seemed happy that I was on her side with things. So practice went well. At one point, Yuko asked me if I was going to be able to run a couple laps to show the kids, the proper form, since I'm the member of the track team and all that. So it was nice to actually be able to contribute myself to things, since Yuko's really taken the lead on all of this. But it was, just nice to be able to both kind of tag team this whole thing and see the kids improving and having fun, and finding myself having fun along with them. So after they left, Yuko and I were getting things finished up for the day, and she again just talked about how great it was to have some time with the kids and to see the progress they're making, and she appreciated my help as well. And likewise, I appreciated everything she did, so we just got that much closer and increased the social link rank for the Strength Arcana to rank 5. So yeah, it was a really fun afternoon. After we parted ways, I headed back to the dorm, and I wanted to just kind of take it easy last night. I took a look around outside to see what my options were, a couple restaurants to consider, or going to Game Parade. But then I saw Akihiko was back by the kitchen, and he invited me to come and cook with him again. Last time we just stuck with the basics and boiled some food. But he said as much fun as that was last time, he wanted to try something a little bit more complicated. He picked up ingredients and wanted to make pork liver stir-fry. Now that sounded like a good progression of our skills. And he also said he prepared the ingredients ahead of time, so it wasn't going to be that hard for us to make the dish. Which also really encouraged me, because it sounded a little more daunting than just boiling basic ingredients. But that also segued nicely into our conversation as we were working, and just talking about the importance of preparation and things. And, that applies to cooking, but all sorts of other aspects of life as well. He likened it to his training in the boxing club and said that so many matches are decided before you even set foot in the ring, just by virtue of the training that each participant puts in ahead of time. And that also seemed very appropriate with the full moon coming up, and just reminding me that the more we prepare, the better able we will be to succeed. So it was, just one of those really nice, lining up of those narratives together as well. But we seemed to have a lot of fun, and the meal came out really good. He was excited. I thought it looked good. We each got a portion of it. And that was just, all the more exciting to see that we put that work in again, and we were rewarded with a good meal. And the fact that we seemed to have fun was just an added bonus. And even more than that, he wants to keep going. He thinks it's been fun. We're making progress, so he wants to just keep going and find something even more complicated and to challenge our skills a little bit further next time. So I'm excited to, again, keep an eye out for that and see what else Akihiko and I can make together. It's nice to have that time to learn from him, to spend some time with him outside of just general combat or seeing him around the dorm, and just get to know him on a man-to-man level. But we cleaned up, got everything put away there, kitchen's back in shape, and we headed upstairs to get to bed. So that was how yesterday ended. It was a really good day, another productive one. And I'm going to come into Thursday and just hope to keep that same mentality going. We've got that full moon right around the corner, so we'll just keep working to get ready for that and take each day one day at a time. With that, we'll be right there. Okay, so here we are. This is actually where we left off last night. We just finished preparing this Iron Athlete meal, and he gave me my portion of it. So we'll finish off last night's review of what happened, and then we'll get into today's actual day.
Sorry. Obviously, this wouldn't have been possible without your help. I've still got a lot to learn. But it's hard to make time for it with all my training and stuff. Maybe if I attach weights to the pen when I'm flipping, I could kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
It was kind of fun to see this scene and talk about this last night too, and just see that's so Akihiko's mentality. It made me think back to studying and preparing for exams, and he had that pained look on his face as he was studying. Mitsuru and I couldn't quite figure out why. We wondered if it was just still him trying to recover from his injuries in April, only for him to finish studying and reveal that he'd been trying to maintain a squat position over the chair to train his abdomen and his legs and all of his core muscles the whole time. So that's very Akihiko, and trying to multitask, training and work at the same time. But that was the end of the day. It was a fun evening. Yes, there we go. And okay, so this should take us then into Thursday the 2nd. We've caught up with the calendar. All right. And it was one of those school days that was, again, somewhat unremarkable. We attended the classes we attended. We had fun with the people we got to encounter. And just here we are in the afternoon hour already. A nice hues to the sky already. So let's get into the day right from here. I've already seen a few good people I want to spend time with. Miyamoto, let's run. Come on, let's go. You best pick up the pace. Keisuke Haraga, burnt out? What better way to remedy that than a relaxing painting session? Okay, sorry, I'll quit with the advertiser voice. Swing by if you'd like. And Kenji, yo, you busy? Give me a shout if you want to hang. I'll be in the classroom. I haven't spent time with Kenji in a while, but the other side of that is the after-school clubs. we've got exams coming up in less than 2 weeks. The week before exams, the week of exams, there aren't any club activities. So I've kind of been just trying to look to spend more time with the clubs during the week. Between the two, technically, I think it's been longer than, for the track team than it has been with the art club. I'd like to spend time with both, and nothing against Kenji back there either. I want to catch up with him and see how his special lessons with Miss Kano went. There's only one of me, and I can only choose one of those, so... Right now, just based on the lack of any other information, I'm thinking about going to the track team today. But we'll also take a look and see what everyone else did, and maybe as I make my way around, we'll see something else that draws my attention. Again, very social link heavy. Tomochika, Chihiro, Miyamoto, and Hiraga. Chihiro's another one. It would be good to spend some time with again. And she seems to be one, that I would also encounter in this after-school hour. But I don't know, maybe she would be more readily available during that week leading up to exams than the other groups. They might be studying just the same, so I might be kind of misremembering some of that, but... I guess let's also take a look at my social links. We're seeing a lot of 5s across the board now. We're down at 4 on Chihiro here. 5 on the track team, so technically, actually 3 on the art club. So if I were just trying to keep everybody balanced, I would probably be looking more to spend some time with the art club just to kind of pull them a little closer to the rank of everyone else. Which wouldn't be bad either. I guess, yeah, Fortune, Chariot, or Justice. What do I have persona-wise? Fortune, Chariot, and Justice. I've got all the choices there. Well, I've got options to consider, but let's take a walk while we do it, so we're not just standing here at the desk the whole time. Maybe I can talk to some people on the way out of the building or around town. We've been hearing rumors of people being found unconscious in pairs, as couples, male and female, together. So we wonder if that has anything to do with the upcoming full moon and the shadow that we believe is going to be part of that. There's also this revenge website that is a rumor to most people, but I've actually been there. I purchased a link from the guy that sells links at Club Escapade. And we also got to see a cutscene with, a handful of people that seem to be working for the website in some capacity and fulfilling the wishes of the clients. So there's a lot of information we still don't know, but a lot of important things to keep in mind. We've got the phone-addicted student here. I think last time we talked to him, he was talking about games on phones and asking me what my pick was for a type of game he should consider. And they all looked fun to me. The admin of the site I'm checking out now is highly respected. I guess they come off as charismatic. Having a unique username and everything. Well, whatever. As long as the site itself is cool, I don't give a flip what kind of admin runs it. Yeah, that's interesting too. It's always nice to be in a place that's well managed, but if whatever you're doing is fun, I guess other things kind of can take it's a little easier to ignore certain faults and flaws and things. Looks like the school store's got something new to either say or sell.
Welcome.
Hey there, welcome.
Ah, yes.
It's almost summer vacation. That's a great feeling as a student, but I bet it's a great feeling as the staff in the school as well. I'm sure there are other responsibilities, of course, for them, so it's not just a break, but it's a different level of work, so there's got to be some level of excitement for that. The shop will be closed for the duration, so that means I won't get paid. This month is going to be tight. Yes, and then there's the other side of that too. Maybe there aren't other responsibilities, and it is actually a lean time from the employed side of things. So good luck, school store vendor.
Welcome.
Maybe, is there anything I should buy to contribute a little bit to her? Ooh. I wonder, do I want to buy another lukewarm taiyaki? I could. I put the one in the refrigerator finally the other day, and I've got a chilled taiyaki now, so that was that mini quest I've put on myself that worked out, but I guess there's no reason not to pick up another one and try to put it in there next time. Why not? I can only put one in the freezer at a time, though, so I'm not going to overspend on that. I don't even know when the next refrigerator cleaning date is. Not out anything but 200 yen, I can afford that. And who knows, maybe there will be a use for that lukewarm taiyaki at some point, if nothing else than to eat it during combat and heal 100 HP. Or I guess, not the lukewarm one, the chilled one. Let's stop down here first off. Yeah, we're just seeing more of those apathy syndrome sufferers. Lazy Student's had a lot to say recently. Kind of ironic, considering his name is Lazy Student. He's been also commenting on all of the Lost and wondering what they've got and wishing he could kind of be like them. And the fact that he considers himself like a professional lazy person and wonders how, Basically, he's comparing himself to the victims of apathy syndrome. Last we talked. I heard some guy made friends with some workers, but isn't that a waste of time? I'm fine being a customer. I don't want to be friends, too, you know? I mean, I'm sure there's an upside to it, but I'll pass anyway. Too much trouble. Okay, I mean, I believe we had that same conversation before, but nice to have it again to make sure. And nice also to take a step back from screenshot here. Usually I walk so close to it that we don't actually really get to appreciate just the scope of it all. And the movie posters up on top there, so just, nice to look around from different angles from time to time. Let's see what's showing today, even though I don't plan to go actually see it. I've seen a lot of movies from the lobby, but haven't actually gone in yet. The School of No Wonder is now showing. Work on my courage. I'd like to work on my courage so that I can become courageous enough to talk to Fuka after school. But I also want to work on my academics with exams less than 2 weeks away, so I've got an abundance of options and a limited amount of time, which is, I guess, kind of how this game works. Weak cat, what would you do? Mew? Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Delinquents? Timid cat? The council of the station outskirts is all in place. So I know I don't need to pick up any persona for any of the social links I end up choosing. So that's kind of nice. Let's take the train over to the Iwatodai station. We're already down here at the Port Island station. Probably nice and hot, so if we can go somewhere where it's maybe a little more temperature controlled, just as much as possible, the better. And it's nice and crowded here, but not so crowded that I see anybody that wants me to talk to them. I don't see any speech bubbles above anybody's heads. I guess I won't be that guy that bothers them. We'll head over to Naganaki Shrine here and get that little bit of break from the hustle of it all. Where do we want to... I never really come over here to the playground much anymore, so let's take our time meditating over just the scene of the shrine in the background, the tree, the playground. Just get some deep breaths while we're here. Alright, how's everybody feeling? Feeling good? Kind of like yesterday, while we're here taking this spiritual break, I'm also going to take a bit of a quick hydration break. Maybe you want to do the same. Alright, everybody good? Let's keep going then. We'll stop here at Polonia Mall, and then we'll make our way back to school to either spend time with Chihiro, the art club, or the track team. There once again is Suimitsu. He's kind of one of those, like I've said, that I don't want to keep ignoring, but I'd like to think that hopefully maybe over summer, if I've got any time during the day, that might be a good time to catch up with him and spend a bit of time together. Even if I can't go to the school, if he keeps showing up here, there's a chance I might be able to encounter him then, so... I haven't been intentionally maliciously ignoring him, I've just kind of been altering priority orders, I guess. Let's check the bulletin board while we're here. We should be all caught up. Thankfully we are.
Now you're here.
He's reminding us of the couples being found with apathy syndrome as well. So like I said the other day too, it was kind of good to hear that from him, just to kind of have that actually factually corroborated and not just that secondhand rumor again. Someone like Officer Kurosawa obviously has more reliable connections to information than just a random student would, so it's nice to hear that from a reliable source. I don't know what we can do with that information yet, but it's good to know, just like having the actual website for the Revenge website, just to know that it is actually real. So I'm not here for much other than to say hi to Officer Kurosawa. Hope you're having a good day today, and thank you for the support.
All done here?
I am.
Come back soon.
I'll check on Igor and Elizabeth as well. I've got all the persona I need, so we should be good there, but we'll still see how their Thursday is going. The week's moving right along. I don't know, time works differently in the Velvet Room here, so maybe the concept of Thursday is different to them, but here you go, Elizabeth. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a good time. I appreciate all the help you always give me, and I'll continue to count on it.
We look forward to your next visit.
We've got just, 5 days until the full moon, so we're getting really close to things. But I feel pretty good about that. The biggest thing right now is just to get a few more recovery items from the pharmacy on Saturday. Hopefully I won't actually need them, but it's the kind of thing, I didn't think I was going to need them in Tartarus the other day, and I did, so I want to use that as something I learned, and, part of the real experience from that climb up the tower the other day. I got overconfident. I got to pay the price a little bit for it, so hopefully I can use that suffering to my advantage next time and avoid it going forward. So, pharmacist, thank you for everything. I appreciate the stock you've got here, and I'll look forward to doing some shopping on Saturday.
You got everything you need?
For now, technically.
Come again, yeah?
That was kind of a good sales tactic from him. Is you got everything you need. Well, technically, no, not really. I'm talking about doing some purchasing on Saturday, so by virtue of planning to buy some things, that would suggest I'm either greedy or I have some more things I would want. So it was good on him to try to get me to think about, maybe I should purchase those today. Who knows what Saturday could bring. Maybe I won't have a chance to get over here. But I'm going to roll those dice for today because I like to hope I've got a chance. Stop in a game parade and look at the games. High School of Youth and Punch Boxer. Could be fun, but yeah, it's more of an evening thing potentially. For now, back to school. Yeah, it's still one of those tough calls of which direction do I go? Having talked about after-school clubs and trying to keep each of the different social links more or less in line with each other, there's a case to be made for spending time with the art club. Especially going forward as I'm fusing Persona, they get that experience bonus from the higher levels. So if I can kind of get everything a little bit higher level, that just gives me that much stronger Persona to work with everything I'm doing. So that works, and it's an after-school club that I won't have access to come next week, I believe, for a couple weeks. So it might make the most sense to spend some time here today. I've got the right Persona. I do. I've got Sandman. I remember, actually, now that I say that, picking him up specifically to spend time with the club the other day. And Sandman was an invaluable part of the team on the Tartarus climb the other day, too, so that was nice. And last time we spent any time with the art club, it was another one of those we got to do some sketching and things. It seemed like a lot of fun. Let's see, I believe there was talk about the club president, Keisuke Haraga, having some of his artwork be considered as a finalist in a local art competition, so that was exciting. We congratulated him for that. And he tried to downplay it and said he just had good tools and good supplies, and he's still basically a beginner at art. And he was just trying to say, no, I was just fortunate and that's all. It wasn't me. And the rest of the club said, no, you put in the time. You're always here, longer than everyone else, working harder than everyone else. So be proud of your accomplishment. And so, he kind of reluctantly accepted the praise. And afterwards, we were headed down to get ready to leave, Hifuka and I, and we saw a student that seemed to kind of, be dizzy and collapse to his knees. And, Hiraga ran right over to check on what was going on, asked him important questions, kind of leaning into that medical background he has, and was able to kind of piece together that it seems likely that student was suffering from a bit of anemia. And I was thinking I was, saying the right thing, and I congratulated him and calling him Doc Jr. because he was just so able to handle that and step up and do what needed to be done and help that student. And he actually didn't seem to appreciate me calling him Doc Jr., which after the fact I totally understood. But he kind of said, medicine is my family's job. It's not what defines me. I have an interest in it and I have some knowledge in it, but basically I think he wants to be seen as his own person. So for me to lump him back into his family like that, I could see that wasn't exactly the right thing to say. It wasn't how I exactly intended it, but yep, that's what happens sometimes. You kind of say the wrong thing, you feel it. And he wasn't mad or anything like that. He didn't take it too negatively. He just kind of basically informed me that, next time please don't do that, essentially. And he wasn't mad, like I said. It was all water under the bridge, so no negative repercussions long term, just that important information going forward on how I should and shouldn't say things, basically. At least that's my remembering of what happened last time, but let's double check here with the in-game summary itself, just to be sure. Yep, Hiraga was informed that his latest piece made it to the final round of a contest. Then one of the club members collapsed. Hirega kept calm and aided them as needed. Yeah. So he's skilled with art. He's got some medical knowledge. He's a very competent person. So let's save the game and spend the afternoon with the art club. I've got Sandman with me. We might grow closer.
Maybe it'd be better if I just quit.
Oh. Well, that's a rough thing to walk in and hear. I was actually kind of so used to just the art club when I would come in, we would just get right to sketching, and it would just be the time passed, and we all had a lot of fun. But either I'm the first one here or the last one here. Either way, though, maybe it'd be better if I just quit.
The club would probably be fine without me. Besides, I don't think I'm cut out to be an artist. What?
That he doesn't think he's cut out to be an artist, yet recently being selected as a finalist in that art competition. I mean, I've heard it said that we're our own biggest critics in a lot of things, and I can definitely see that in myself as well. I'll say things like, "Oh yeah, this was pretty good, but this part could have been better, and that could have been better." Whereas other people are like, "Wow, that was a really that part was good. You did great." And I'm like, "No, it was okay, but it wasn't great." So yeah, it's easier to kind of get into that space of over critiquing what you've done. So maybe he's kind of fallen into that.
How long have you been here?
I wasn't counting, but
Did you hear everything?
I heard some things. And he said specifically that maybe they would be better off without me. I would believe talking about the club rather than the contest. I can't really think of a contest being better without a participant. And I really hope he doesn't consider quitting the art club, but at the same time, I don't want to jump to any conclusions. I mean, he's, again, like I've said with so many people, his own person. I don't know the circumstances going on, so it's kind of unfair for me to just make declarations. But I do believe I heard him talking about quitting the art club, so I'm going to say as much.
So you did hear everything then?
Yeah. So I'm not going to lie about stuff like that. He asked me what I heard, and I'll be straight with him.
My dad told me to quit the art club. He said I need to study more and concentrate on my future.
Well, concentrating on the future. That's another topic that's come up a lot throughout the game. There was a student that pulled a teacher that pulled Yuko aside to tell her the same thing. And that actually kind of segued into the training the elementary schooler students at the track as well to kind of help focus on the future for them. And Yuko made the point as they were playing in the mall about don't they ever think about the future? And this is set in a high school and we're high school students. So one of the few points in life I think is bigger than people talking about the future than when you're in high school. Nobody exactly knows what they're going to do, but it seems like so many people say that you have to know. You've got to figure it out. What are you going to do with the rest of your life? Man, thinking back to high school for me, if somebody said I'd be doing this, I'd be like, no, of course I wouldn't be doing that. Streaming a game online, me? No, that's crazy. So you never know where you're going to end up, but it can be good. It isn't always necessarily, but it can be, so look for the good. So that was a long tangent here to study and concentrate on his future, but there is that direction from people too that seem to think they know. And I guess there's also that high schooler side of it too, to assume that you know better. It's that perpetual tough back and forth that I think has gone on at every generation, probably as far back as humanity's gone. So it's not a new problem. It persists.
When I told him I was a finalist in the contest, I thought he'd be proud.
Yeah.
But all he said was that I was wasting my time.
Well, that's unfortunate.
He said it's my responsibility to take over the hospital because I'm his only son.
That really frames my comment from the other week, in an even more negative light now. He's got these forced expectations just because of who his father is, assuming, oh, you have to take over my legacy and continue it for me. So yeah, I could definitely see him responding negatively when I fed into that, and, meaning to or not. He didn't like it, and I can see why.
My dad doesn't care about me. He only cares about his stupid hospital. And it's not just him either.
I'm sorry, I won't do it again.
Just because my dad's a doctor, everyone expects me to be one too.
Wow. We haven't seen Keisuke this fired up and stuff before. But I think he's right to feel this way. I'm glad he actually, isn't trying to just stuff that aside and ignore it.
I have my own dreams too, you know? I can't stand it anymore.
Yeah. Interesting choices here. I mean, I think airing grievances to other people is potentially helpful. You can potentially invite new perspectives on things, or you can just, you might not even be looking for someone to do anything for you. You just want to talk it out and, put the words out there. You can hear them in your own head just by talking to someone. You could accomplish the same thing by writing a letter or, talking to a mirror sort of thing. But so I'm not going to say that complaining to me won't help, because there's, like I say, something to be said for putting words to things. So maybe I'm going to kind of, throw this back at him and so you're just going to take it? Turn him into that inward reflection of, are you just going to give up and go along with the flow then? Are you going to fall to those expectations and quit the club that you seem to like? To give up art that you seem to like and that you seem skilled at? I'm sure, anything in the medical field would take the majority of your focus in your life. I've never pursued that myself because that's not where my interest lies, but credit to the people that do. And I'm sure, like I say, that you don't have a lot of time for things that people see as, frivolous, fun activities like art. But art can be healing and therapeutic and make people happy, and it could be a good hobby if nothing else. And I think Keisuke sees it as more than that. So the thought of having to give up one for the other would be a challenge. But let's just try to hopefully motivate him and not try to back him into a corner by saying, so you're just going to take it. Again, this is kind of just me almost holding a mirror up to him and saying, are you going to take it? What are you going to do about it? I don't want to turn him down and say, don't talk to me about this, because I'm happy to be a sounding post for this. But I'm also not going to try to solve his problem either, because that's not my place. So I will just kind of get him to try to reflect a bit this way by saying, so you're just going to take it?
No, I don't want that. It's my life, and I want to live it my way.
There you go, then. I think he's talked himself through his problem, then. He started out by saying, maybe I should quit. What do I do? And now to see a line here, this is very definitive, and it seems to encapsulate exactly what his real feelings are. No, I don't want that. It's my life, and I want to live it my way. So I don't think there should be any hesitation anymore. He knows what he wants. And there you go.
Sorry.
No. I like seeing the other side of people like that, and it's so cool that he trusts me to say that. He didn't just kind of see me come in and clear his throat and say, "Oh, haha, never mind. Let's go back to club activities." He trusts me enough to actually say these things to me, and I appreciate that.
I figured it out. I'm going to make a bet with my dad.
Oh, okay.
If I don't win the contest, then I'll quit the club just like he wants me to.
Interesting. He seems motivated, so I can't talk against a man's motivation. Maybe I should hear him out on all of his plan first.
But if I win, then I can do whatever I want. And as soon as I get home, I'm going to convince him.
Okay.
Do you mind keeping this under wraps?
I believe myself to be a fairly good secret keeper around the school, so I'll add it to my list of secrets.
I don't want anyone worrying that I might quit the art club. So let's just keep this between us.
And that is a fair concern, all joking aside. I understand that, so I will respect him and keep his secret. And yeah, he really opened up to me. But back to his plan about making a bet with his father about winning the art competition and making that the deciding factor on whether or not he quits. It does seem fitting in that winning the competition would show his prowess with art, but it seems like a lot to stake on a competition. I feel like Keisuke is the kind of person that paints because he likes painting. He doesn't do this as a means to win competitions or to beat other people or to just prove some level of superiority. He really comes across to me like someone who likes the act of painting and art in general. I don't want to limit it to just painting. So to look at this art competition that he may or may not win, I hope he does, and stake his entire art career on that. It's like, it addresses the immediate problem, but it feels like it's almost a way to shift some agency away from making a choice himself. It's more, oh well, I tried, but I didn't win the competition, so it's out of my hands. I wanted to keep going, but I made the bet, so I have to quit. As we were talking, he doesn't want to quit. That seemed abundantly clear to me. So to set up this bet almost sounds like he's giving himself that plausible deniability on the choice, almost. Of like, well, I did my best, but I didn't win the competition, so it can't be helped. This wasn't up to me anymore, when I think it's always up to you. But either way, he opened up to me, and his plan has merits as well, so hopefully he can convince his dad. And again, I just really do appreciate him sharing that with me. It would have been so easy to just brush it aside and pretend nothing happened, so he feels motivated now. Hopefully it works out for him. I feel like we're becoming better friends. Very nice. So there's rank 4 with the art club. Kind of a different turn from things, but it puts a lot more in perspective as well. I've known about his medical background, and he does seem to be knowledgeable in that field, as we've seen abundantly clear throughout the first 3 levels of the social link. But kind of coming off of last week in my misspoke comment, or not positively received comment, to actually hear the why of it now, and to hear his real true feelings about not wanting to just be typecast and living in his family's shadow. I definitely see a deeper, more real side of Keisuke Hiraga now. It feels like we are legitimately, really, truly getting closer.
Hey, would you mind letting the art club know that I'll be taking the day off?
I can do that.
I want to have the talk with my dad today.
All right, he's got the motivation, he's got the plan. I guess that this, to kind of give him actual more credit here, since I was trying to kind of downplay his plan before. I do kind of like this. This is my motivation right now, and I'm going to give it thought on the way, but I'm not going to wait. I'm going to lay out my plans, man to man with my dad, and let him know that this is what's going on. This is the bet. It'll motivate him, but it also kind of gives him that chance to not talk himself out of it. And he's like, oh, I'll tell him tomorrow, or I'll think about it, and I'll tell him over the weekend. Or, like, nope, I'm gonna find him today. I'm gonna tell him today, and this is where it's gonna be. So I hope it goes well for him.
Well, see you later.
Take care. I was pretty active in the club today. I wrapped up club activities and went back to the dorm. And it was kind of also nice to see that the club itself didn't wonder. And I'm not sure anybody would have pried if I just said, oh yeah, Keisuke's out for the rest of the day. He wanted me to let you know. If anybody did ask, I'm like, oh, he had something, he wanted to take care of. I'm not going to, divulge anything. Nobody really needs to know. So, I can say without saying. It's like, oh yeah, he had some family business he wanted to take care of. I can be just vague enough to not lie, but to not give away information that I'm supposed to be keeping secret. Either way, uneventful. Nice, didn't have to lie. So we're back to the dorm here, and here's Fuka. Hi, how was your day? It was good. It was. I made a lot of... It was fun in the art club. Fuka was there, so I guess I don't need to tell her, but it was a good day so far. And it's still just evening, so I've still got some time to go. And I really like that. Everybody's, there's so much dialogue between the party members here that there's always something new to talk about and to say and to see. It really just makes the world feel that much more full every time. While I'm down here, let's look at that refrigerator again. I kind of thought we slew this battle, but having another lukewarm taiyaki, maybe I can get it in here sooner than later. The fridge is stuffed full of food and ingredients. It won't fit. Ooh, $7.29. Wow. We've got a while for that one. Well, I guess, kind of like last month, I'll be carrying around a lukewarm taiyaki for the better part of summer, so I'm sure that'll be delicious once I get it in the refrigerator. Let's get this bag taken care of, though, and just kind of unwind in our room before headed downstairs to talk to everybody. Got a radiator here. It's a heating and cooling unit. It feels cool when I stand near it, likely because cold water is running through it. Again, nice little details. It's like that could just be something that's part of the wall there, but I can interact with it, and it actually tells me it feels cool because of the cool water running through it. It's summer, so it's got to be a nice... Anything you can do to stay cooler in here. see a specific air conditioner unit, so having something to keep you cooler is almost certainly welcome. Only one message tonight, wow. Limited set meal from Wakatsu PR. Today we're serving up our special limited dish, only for our regulars. A full-course seafood set meal available at a reasonable price. We hope you will all try it. Remember, a healthy brain stems from healthy food. Wakatsu's got your back. Alright. Well, I didn't really see anybody down in the lobby that had any special activities. I didn't see any gardening or any sort of DVDs, anything like that. I was kind of tunnel visioned on getting up here to my room, but I don't think I saw anybody reading in the little reading area out in the hall there. Yeah, I say I'm kind of talking this out before we look and see what everyone else did. But I guess, I don't know, maybe we've got those couple evening social links. Maybe either Mutatsu-san or President Tanaka would be available tonight. But if not, I might look to go, maybe to Wakatsu. I was looking to do something with my academics, so that could be a fun use of my time. That also is in line with trying to prepare myself for exams. I've said before, it still kind of feels weird saying I'm going to go get dinner and that'll make me more prepared for exams, but it does contribute to my academics, so it would be in line with that long-term goal technically. But having talked all that out now, let's take a look and see what everyone else did with their time. But, I guess even one more step before that. There is also Tartarus. Technically, I could head in there tonight and just work a little bit more on leveling. We're pretty close to everyone's average level. We're right around 25-ish. A couple 24s on the board here, but 25 and 26 for the rest of us. So unlike last month where I was like 5 levels behind, I'm maybe one or two behind. I'd still rather be caught up with everybody, so there'll be a case for Tartarus in the next 4 or 5 days, hopefully. Now we can take a look and see what everyone else did. Okay. Looks like there was some social link time with Mutatsu-san. A handful of people did go to Tartarus as well. Everyone's average level is up to 27 now, so that is interesting. Again, I don't want to let it go too far, but seeing a social link, I'm really drawn to those social links. I don't believe I have any tower persona. I think we checked on that the other day and I didn't have any. Yeah, it was level 31 before I could actually summon a tower. So, like I've said, I've spent some time with Mutatsu-san since then. So I don't need that persona with me. It's just kind of nice to get that little extra bit of bonus. Yeah, nobody was reading tonight. Let's also head upstairs and take a look at the garden while we're here. Yeah, looking at all that, though, I am thinking that spending some time with Mutatsu-san sounds like it could be some fun. We'll talk to everybody down in the lounge there as well and just see what everybody's schedule's looking like. Our Amber Onion Sprouts on 7-6. That's actually closer than it seems. Alright, though, let's head downstairs. Stop in, get cleaned up, and maybe I'll see what I'm thinking about. Maybe there's something on my character's mind that'll kind of help direct my night as well. Yep, just thinking about those Amber Onions. I guess that's good. There's nothing more important or pressing going on. Yeah, let's see what everyone's up to tonight. Junpei's got another good dinner there. Yukari.
Hey, so...
Kirijo-senpai never tells us more than what she thinks we need to know. Yeah, I can see that, but I can also kind of relate to that. Saying too much can be problematic in all kinds of ways. And yeah, I guess technically she does kind of seem to only say what needs to be said, but again, I don't see that as a bad thing. So it hasn't really even stuck out to me because that's how I try to approach things as well. So I guess that's kind of how I am as well. I don't want to feel like I'm conspiring against Mitsuru, but I also don't want to alienate myself from Yukari, who wants to be able to talk about this sort of thing. So, technically I have noticed it. I haven't thought negatively of it. But, I guess, by that, kind of, again, only saying as much as needs to be said, I have noticed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for us to know what's going on when she makes all the decisions herself. That is technically fair, but at the same time, I feel like she's kept us in the loop on decisions and things. I really do feel like any of us could make a stand and say, no, I disagree with this, or ask why we're doing something the way we are. Again, not to sound like I'm talking against Yukari here, but this feels like one of those, if you've got a problem, say something. I feel like Mitsuru is definitely the approachable sort. If something's not right, I'm sure she would rather talk about it as well. So there's this kind of scheming in the background of, don't you think she's hiding something from us? Yeah, I think so too. I've noticed that. That doesn't do anything, I guess. And I mean, again, I don't want to sound like I'm just trying to totally side against Yukari here, because she's right to be concerned about some of these things, but this feels like one of those problems that would be a lot easier to sort out by saying anything. I don't feel like Mitsuru's that unapproachable. Then that would just be one of those like, hey, I've got some questions here. Can you tell me? Be straight about it. Don't dance around the issue and just say exactly what the question is. Like, there was this incident 10 years ago. I'm trying to look into that. Have you heard anything about it? If she says no, then we'll, okay. If she says yes, then there you go. You've got some information. And if new information comes to light later where, some truth was withheld, then maybe you've got some ground to stand on. But again, that also circles back to communicate. And pot calling the kettle black here, I'm not always the best at that either. So, I understand. I should, not cast stones in this glass house, but there's a lot to be said for saying something. And yeah, she's talking here, that kind of behavior can lead to misunderstandings. That's true, but again, flipping that back, it's like not talking to someone and making assumptions also kind of seems like that's leading to misunderstandings. So, all parties involved have some level of impact on this communication breakdown. And by that logic again, and I guess looking more internally, I'm aware of these concerns now, so technically this feels like the kind of thing I could also be bringing to Mitsuru's attention. I could even frame it that I've got these questions so that it's not trying to throw Yukari under the bus. I would like to know some specifics on things, and I respect Mitsuru saying what she wants to say and only as much as she feels like she needs to say, but again, I don't want to just keep silent on things when I could be helping out the team. I'm in some sort of leadership capacity as the battle side of things, so I feel like I could approach Mitsuru and say, hey, I've got some questions. Do you have a moment? Maybe we can talk about some stuff. If I can find anything out, then I could go to Yukari and just say, I was able to talk to Mitsuru about these things and she was open to it. Maybe we can schedule a meeting with the whole team to kind of clear the air on some things. So I'm definitely not blameless here, being aware of problems and also not doing anything to further resolution myself. So I feel like the team is doing well together, but there are some under the surface issues that we still need to work on.
Hey there.
Our next battle may be drawing near, but don't get too nervous. If you do, you might find yourself freezing up. Try and stay as relaxed as you can. Good advice. Akihiko's always got good advice. Fuka, how's it going? Let's talk.
By the way,
Oh yeah, have you been keeping track of the moon phases each month, Shima-kun? Of course. I mean, I actually have kind of been watching. We've got that nice little display up in the upper right there for us with our days left in the current moon phase, so it's kind of hard not to see that every day. So of course. Also be super concerning for the rest of the team to hear me say, oh, not at all. Moon, what's that?
nice one.
Well, that's reassuring. Guess that's what makes you the leader. That's another one of those lines where the team seems to really do a good job of taking basic little things I do and really trying to talk about how great they were. It's like, oh yeah, I'm aware when the next full moon is. Wow, that's amazing. You're so good at this. That's why you're a leader here. It's like, thanks, but that wasn't really above and beyond anything. I mean, I'm glad they're happy. I won't argue with that though. Let's see what's on TV. Today's Cantonese word is lei ho. Swing your arm. Lei. Lift those legs. Ho. Lei ho means hello. That's all for this week. Back to the news. Huh. Something different. If I totally, mispronounced anything, apologies. And that goes for everything I've said, forward and back here. I'm not the best with pronunciations, so it is what it is. There is that social link mark, and we knew Mutatsu-san was available, so that does sound like something I want to continue this tonight. So we'll stop by the mall here. I was going to say the station or the strip mall, and kind of got torn between the two, so I guess I'm stopping in the street. But, we're at the mall portion for now. Again, don't see anybody. I don't expect there's anything up here new at like Net Cafe, but it's a nice place to stop along our rounds in the evening. One of these days there's going to be something new, and I'll probably be first in line for it as much as I'm in here. We already came up those stairs. Let's go down the others. Anybody here to talk to? No, but we are definitely, I'm seeing a lot more apathy syndrome sufferers. Almost feels like there's more of them than there are of other people now. But I guess, we really know that that full moon is just 5 days away now. Even one in the foreground here. Here we are in Club Escapade. I bet the URL seller doesn't have anything new, but suspicious man, I guess. Nope, still just that Iwatodai forum note, which again, one of these days I'll plan to pick up, but there's been so many other things to do with my evening that another night on the shared computer just for something like that has been less appealing. But here is Mutatsu-san, the monk we met earlier in the week. I heard a rumor from Yuko about a monk being here, so I was able to come and meet up with him. When I first talked to him, he just told me if I wasn't bringing him booze to get out of here. So I was able to go downstairs and take some drink orders from people in exchange for having the bartender bring the guy a drink. And he was kind of impressed. And he just talked about how I kind of remind him of his son, his delinquent son. He was also asking, like, what is the big draw for coming into a place like this? It seems like one of those rites of passage as a kid, but once you actually get in here, you'll realize it's not all it's cracked up to be, sort of thing. And then most recently, he talked about how young people, aren't the best at showing respect. He asked me what I was doing back here after he told me not to come back, and I said, I'm here to see you, old man. And he said, old man, basically, how dare you? I don't care if you revere me as some sort of, spiritual leader, but the least you could do is show me the basic courtesy of respect. That was a fair point. He gave me a bit of a lecture on the concept of respect. So I did try to put that into practice and ask him how I should address him. And he seemed to at least a little impressed that I didn't ignore his entire lesson. He said, call me Mutatsu. That's my monk name. And you can call me Mutatsu-san, because we're talking respect here. So I knew how to address him now. He is Mutatsu-san. And he still seemed to take some interest in me and have some level of, I don't want to say guardianship or protection, but he seems intrigued by someone like me. I'm different from the rest of the people here in some capacity. I remind him of his son, so maybe there's a lot of deep things going on there. We're only rank 2, so I don't have a lot of information to fall back on, but even with just 2 ranks, it feels like I already know a lot about Mutatsu-san. Well, I have ideas about Mutatsu-san, actually thinking there's actually a lot I don't know about him. That's why we're spending time together, so maybe tonight we'll learn a bit more. I will save the game here. And let's also take a look and go over what the game says happened last time, just to keep everything as properly informed as possible. I have an ability to forget some of those things occasionally. Here's the unusual monk. I encountered the same monk at Club Escapade again. He told me his name is Mutatsu and lectured me about showing more respect to my elders. Alright. Kind of nice to be able to, again, give that decent summary. It was only, 2 or 3 nights ago that I was here as well, so it's more fresh in my mind. It should be a little easier to not forget. But we're all caught up on the same information now, so let's see what happens tonight. I don't have a tower persona, but I don't have access to one, so what can you do? Whew. More. I need more. Mutatsu seems to be drinking by himself. I feel like I might grow closer to Mutatsu soon. As much as he told me to call him Mutatsu-san, even reading it aloud here and just calling him Mutatsu there's that part of me that just wants to add the san to it. Should I spend the evening with Mutatsu? I should. Spend time with Mutatsu-san.
You.
What? You again? I could definitely see that reaction, because both times at the end of the night he said, okay, don't come back. And the most recent time he's like, I told you not to come back. Definitely don't come back again. I've told you once already and you ignored me, so I don't want to see you here anymore. Are you here? So I could see, this being the 3rd time. It's like, oh, hey there, Mutatsu-san, it's me again. Can't you listen?
I thought your face looked familiar. You here again, kid?
Nice. So that seems a lot less dismissive than before. It wasn't like, oh, you ignored me. What are you doing? I told you not to come back here. It seems like almost like he expected me here now.
Even Buddha's not that forgiving. All right, that's it. I'm gonna hand you over to the bouncer and...
Okay, maybe I spoke too soon.
Well, there's no Buddha in this world, so... Stop looking at me like that and sit down, kid. So tell me, is it that fun hanging out with an old monk whose own wife and kid left him?
I've enjoyed spending time with Mutatsu-san, but hearing it framed that way, it kind of feels like a loaded question.
How come you're always alone when I see you? Don't you got any friends?
Of course I've got friends. I like to think I do. That's kind of one of those existential questions now, though, isn't it? My first knee-jerk reaction was, well, yeah, I've got friends. Kind of what's it to you sort of thing. But I like to kind of, even though we're still barely acquainted, I like to see Mutatsu-san on like the verge of friendship. But yeah, like I said, then, maybe there's some, reflection he's making me do here. It's like, do you have friends? You think you do, but do you have friends? Are you a good friend to them? Interesting. I am alone. That is true. He has only seen me by myself, so maybe there is that rightful side of him thinking, are you always alone? Interesting choices here. I mean, my first response was to defend myself and say that I've got friends. Kind of an interesting, double negative choice here. If I can't say I don't, I'd still like to kind of just, basically stand up straight and tall and say, yeah, I've got friends. I'm happy to know them. They seem happy to know me, and I think of us as friends. And I definitely, don't feel like I don't have any friends. To now be the one talking in overly negatives. But I'm going to go with the more positive group of negatives and say I can't say I don't. Because I do have friends.
What the hell's that supposed to mean? Either you do or you don't. Don't get smart with me, kid.
He picked up on it just like we did. Like, yeah, you're talking in circles here. Either you do or you don't. Just word for word as he said. And that's kind of how I wanted to address it myself, but I decided to talk in circles instead.
What would you call a friend anyway? Where do you draw the line between friend and acquaintance?
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this actually has kind of taken that internal internal thinking direction that I thought it might. Introspective. There was the word I was searching for. What would I call the line between a friend and an acquaintance? It is a fine line. I feel like the idea of a friend is somebody that, I mean, to some extent I was going to say that they see you as a friend as well, but that's still a little superficial, isn't it? And I mean, even with acquaintances, the other side's like, oh, a friend is someone that you genuinely care about and you want to help out. But I can feel that way with acquaintances as well. I mean, you could say that Mutatsu and I are technically still acquaintances, and I would still try to want to get closer. He asks a good question, and I'm intentionally trying not to forward things here and be given those choices because it is kind of fun to take this time to try to fumble with my words and subject you guys to listening to it, but to try to talk it out and consider what does it actually mean. I mean, there's a lot of those pleasantry type things. That's like it's somebody that you want to see, that you want to be around, that you look forward to seeing. More so than an acquaintance, someone whose successes you see as your own and whose failures you see as your own, and that you want to help, not because there's anything in it to gain, but because you want for them what you would want for yourself in those situations. You want them to be happy because you care, not just because they're someone that you know. Acquaintances, I guess, are kind of people you see around, whereas those friends are the ones that you want to go deeper with. And maybe it's kind of a weird way to think about it, but I've worked with some people that I've thought of as friends, and I've worked with other people that I've thought of as acquaintances. And it's again, that fine line. There are some people, it's like, I'm okay being around you, and I'm happy to interact with you, but then there are those others where you see them and you kind of light up, and there are things you can talk about more openly, and they seem to share interests with you and you with them. And yeah, it's surprisingly hard to put words to something as basic as what would you consider the line between a friend and an acquaintance. And so to be there in the moment in a club environment like this with Mutatsu-san sitting right next to me saying, in his nice, gruff, direct way, explain it to me. What do you think? But all that circular talking aside, let's see if it actually gives me a choice, so if I end up talking again about it.
Let's define a friend as someone you hold.
Okay, so he wasn't actually asking per se. He was kind of going to, set it up for himself here to talk. So I'm definitely happy to learn this lesson from him and see what his take on this is. Define a friend as someone you hold dear.
The way I see it, no one in this world ever really cares for others.
That's, I was going to say, a kind of a sad worldview, but it's not really for me to judge the views of other people like that, but it's not exactly how I see things. That doesn't mean he's wrong, and it doesn't mean I'm right, and vice versa, but I do think that there are genuine people that care for other people in the world. It doesn't always seem like it, and not everybody cares for everybody, but I'm not going to take that extreme side either, saying no one in this world ever really cares for others. That seems... it seems overly harsh, but it also seems genuinely untrue in my assessment of things. I've been fortunate too. I've said that before, and I'll keep saying that. So I am very, very happy and very lucky with the way things have played out in my life so far. And maybe that gives me an overly rose-colored glasses view of the world, but people do care about other people.
People always want something out of a relationship. They only really love themselves.
That's interesting that you should bring that up, because that's one of those things I've intentionally tried to talk about throughout this game as well, and I don't want to see these social links as transactions. It is nice when I'm able to fuse a better persona or see the story advance, but that was a very clear distinction I've tried to make multiple times, and saying I'm not trying to spend time with these people just because I want those things. Spending time with Yuko the other day was fun because I wanted to spend time alongside her as the assistant coach, and to see if those kids can get better at running. And it was nice that I was able to level up the Strength Arcana by doing so, and it was fun to spend time with Yuko, so maybe I did gain something from that, but I feel like there was more than that, and I do want to keep seeing where things go, because I feel like I care. You can gain things and still have a real bond, I think. The two aren't mutually exclusive.
You don't call someone who doesn't like you your friend, do you? No. Because you know you won't get nothing from them.
Again, I'm not sure about that. I think it's that level of familiarity and getting to actually, I guess in a persona sense, make a genuine bond between the person. Even people like the lazy student or the phone-addicted student that I don't really know their real names for, I see them on that borderline level between friend and acquaintance just because I've had that proximity to them and I've gotten to know them a little bit better. I think that familiarity and that shared experience with someone else is what strengthens all bonds. There were people like getting to know Chihiro, where I had to talk to her in the hall a handful of times before we could even spend time together. We definitely started out as acquaintances when she didn't really want anything to do with me because she was afraid of guys. And as we got closer, she was able to open up more, and I was able to understand her a bit more. And so that passing acquaintance level became more of a friend level. And it wasn't out of any sort of, what can I gain from this? It was just by getting closer to that person and seeing the world with them in it, I guess. Not because it was something that I wanted to gain from, but it was because I wanted to actually know the person. It's like, if phone-addicted student asked me for something, I would definitely consider it. I wouldn't just say, I don't know you, you're some stranger, or what can you do for me on this? So, I guess that's a lot of words here to say for something like this, but let's see where else Mutatsu takes this. So, you don't call someone who doesn't like you your friend, do you? No. Because you don't know, you won't get nothing from them. Or because you know you won't get nothing from them. He said it better, but it's been a while since he said it, so I wanted to try to reread it for all of us.
Which means in this world, there's no one you can truly hold dear.
And again, the idea of links, social links and forming bonds, that's a two-way street. If you're intentionally putting up walls instead of building bridges, you're never going to make that connection to anybody else. So if you're the one that says, I can't associate with you unless I get something from that, then you're the one that's stopping a bond from forming. And I guess with that worldview, it is possible to live in a world without friends because you're intentionally closing yourself off from the chance to make them. But that doesn't mean that that's the core value of how the world operates. And that's not the default state, I don't think, or at least I hope isn't. You put yourself out there and it's scary and you have to make that connection and suffer at times and take what comes, but if you can weather those challenges, you grow closer, and that's where those real bonds form.
At the end of the lonely road of love, kid, you're the only one left standing there.
And again, I don't know a lot of the specifics of his life, other than he just recently talked about how his wife and his son left, so it would be definitely easy to have a more jaded worldview based on something like that. So again, I'm not going to say that his way of seeing things is wrong and that mine is right, but I will try to champion my side of it just as much as he's trying to champion his side of things. And that's not just me trying to be that confrontational high schooler talking to an elder. Because like I've said, there is a lot that can actually be gained by listening to your elders, but the same is also true, and that just because he's older than I am doesn't mean all of his advice is sage wisdom that should be taken as gospel either.
What? You see those gals over there? One's on the dance floor.
Okay, he was actually going somewhere else with this, so it wasn't just a whole negative spiral. So, see the girls over on the dance floor.
You can bring one of them over here. I'll be your friend in return, huh? What do you think? I know you can do it.
I don't know, if that's what it takes to be friends, that fits into his narrative of what can you do for me, and I'll reward your payment with friendship, basically. I felt Mutatsu-san's warped trust in me. It is interesting too. I mean, again, to have him talk about these things with me, to try to share his worldview a bit more, and to try to convince me of the validity of it, even if I don't really take it in. It opens up that dialogue for the both of us to talk. And it definitely gives me that introspection of my own behavior and thoughts and things. Like, do I try to approach things as neutrally as I say, or do I actually come across as the transactional friend? I hope I don't, and I don't want to, but hoping and wanting are different. I mean, I actually have to put in the effort to try to be whatever I can define as a genuine friend. So there was a lot of good back and forth that was mostly him talking, but me talking to you guys about that. So it was a lot of fun. And a warped level of trust is kind of a fun way to put it for both of us. I feel like I understand Mutatsu a little better now. Yeah, I mean, that is kind of how he seems to view the world, so that will be the framework to approach things going forward. There we are. We ranked up to rank 3 in the Tower Arcana with the unusual monk Mutatsu-san.
Too tired to go talk to him, huh? You look like you're gonna doze off any second now.
It is probably getting kind of late. We've been talking for a while.
Go home for now, kid. Besides, I know you're gonna come again anyway, even if I tell you not to.
That right there, I guess, shows he knows me well enough now. Like, I've told you not to come multiple times. You keep coming back, so I'm sure you'll just keep coming back. And he's right. I do plan to come back. I said goodbye to Mutatsu-san and went back to the dorm. All right. That looks like the end of Thursday. So let's head back to the desk and talk about it. Okay, here we are. So that was the end of Thursday, July 2nd. And it was another great day. It was quick in times, it was longer in others, but it feels like I did and saw a lot, despite maybe not so much as I look back on it. I mean, when I think back, the school day itself was there and gone. We didn't actually see anything happen in classes. It was just that we knew we attended class and had lunch and had afternoon classes and all that stuff. But the day basically started at the afternoon hour already. And so once again, I had the choice of how I wanted to spend my time. I've been prioritizing the after-school clubs with exams coming up around the corner. And so today I made my way over to the art club. And I was able to get there before everyone else arrived, and I saw the club president, Keisuke Hiraga, talking to himself. He assumed he was still alone, even though I'd snuck in. And he was seemingly contemplating quitting the art club. It didn't sound like anything he wanted to really do either, but I was surprised to hear that, considering he was the president and seems to really love art. And then he realized I was there and asked me, did you hear me talking? And I was straight with him. I said, yep, I did. It sounded like you were talking about quitting the art club. He's like, oh yeah, you did hear that then. He talked about even though he was a finalist in this competition, his dad doesn't want him to continue art. He thinks art is a waste of time and he needs to focus on his studies. His dad's the head of a hospital and he expects Keisuke to basically inherit that role and continue the family business, more or less. And Keisuke definitely has skill in the medical field. We've seen him display his knowledge before. But he hates being stuck in the family shadow there and just having everyone assume that this is what he's going to do just because of who his family is. He says he loves art and he's good at it. He seems to love medicine and he's also good at that as well, but he just doesn't want to constantly be expected to go that direction. But his dad wants him to quit. This is where the first time we actually saw him basically put his foot down and actually seem emotional about that. And, this isn't what I want. I like art. I'm good at art. I don't want to just go into the family business because of who my family is. And then he said, what do you think I should do? And it gave me the choice to say, talking to me about it's not going to solve anything. But the other side, it gave me the choice to say, so you're just going to give up? Are you going to quit the club like they want you to and fall in line and be that next doctor in the family chain? And he was already in a good high emotional state. He said, no, that's not what I'm going to do. I don't want to do that. That's not where I see my life going. And so it was kind of nice to be able to get him to come to that self-realization rather than trying to help him make a decision that he needs to make for himself. And that got the wheels turning in his head because he realizes he does love art and he wants to keep continuing it. So he's decided to stake it all on this art competition that he's a finalist in. He's going to try to make a bet with his dad that if he comes in and wins this competition, then he'll be free to choose how he wants to spend the rest of his life, and it won't be up to his family anymore to decide things for him. On the other side, if he doesn't win the art competition, that'll mean that art isn't for him, and he will just follow in his studies and really go into the medical field just like he's expected to do. So he's got a good solid plan about that. I've still got some misgivings on it myself because it feels like still a little bit of a way to take some agency out of making a choice that you know in your heart and that you want to make, but he's motivated, and he said he was going to go home right now and talk to his dad about this plan. He asked me to tell the rest of the art club that he was going home early. So it was nice that he trusted me about that and to actually show the real side of him. He didn't just put on a brave front and say, oh, yeah, studying is going to take priority, so I can't just keep having fun in the art club. He trusts me more than that, and I was really happy to see that side of him. We got a little bit closer as a result and took the social link rank up to 4. So I told the rest of the club that he'd gone home early. We had fun doing whatever art activities we did for the rest of the afternoon, and I made my way back to the dorm. Kind of continuing the social side of the day, for the evening I headed out to Club Escapade because Mutatsu-san was there. And it was fun to just catch up with him as well. I came in and he kind of just shook his head, said, you again? I've told you multiple times not to come back here. Well, you're here, so why don't you sit down? And we had a really interesting discussion about the concept of what is a friend versus what is an acquaintance. Technically, I think I did a lot more talking with you guys than he did talking to me, but it was a very fun way to kind of dig deeper and really try to assign definitions for those terms. It feels so easy on the surface to try to differentiate. It's like, oh yeah, I know that person over there is a friend, and that one, yeah, they're more of an acquaintance. But to actually try to give a hard, solid definition to those was surprisingly difficult. I still don't feel like I walked away with a real, easy-to-convey, word for the two either. So it's a nebulous concept that varies from person to person. But it seemed a little less so in Mutatsu-san's side of things. He said that friends are basically people that you're using. You only become friends with someone because of something that they can do for you or that you can get from them. He says everybody is actually selfish, and no one actually makes real friendships because all it is just a means to an end for people. All they're doing is using you for their own benefit, and all you do is use people for your own benefit. So friendships are all superficial, and none of it is actually real, which was kind of a depressing way to look at things. That is his view on things, though. So like I said in the moment, too, it's like I can't say that he's wrong and I'm right any more than he can say that he's right and I'm wrong. But it was nice to actually see that seems to be his genuine stance on things. He even made a joke that, hey, there's some nice cute girls down there. If you can get some of them to come up here, maybe I can be your friend. Just to kind of further that message of his own of like, hey, there's this transaction side of things. If you can bring these cute girls up, maybe we can be friends. Just to kind of, see, that's what I meant. We'll be friends if you can do something for me. But it was nice to actually have him open up to me about that. He'd also mentioned that, kind of just in passing, he'd mentioned that his wife and his son they'd both left him. So that was, not something you ever want to hear for somebody, but that's another side of him that we know now, and it kind of does help shape his views on relationships with other people. So we've kind of got a basic groundwork of how he sees the world and he sees other people. And it'll be kind of interesting to see how that continues, I guess, basically. If that evolves or changes with time, or if he tries to just further convince me of that worldview. It was really nice to have that chance to look inside and talk it out with you guys and try to frame it around what he was saying and just see what that really all means. I probably went deeper in it than it needed to be, and I don't think I made any solid conclusions to walk away with, but it's still just kind of fun to have those thought experiments sometimes. And I like to think my character thought the same thing in the moment in the evening as we discussed whatever we discussed. And it seemed like it was getting later and later, so my character was having a hard time staying awake, so Mutatsu-san basically said, you're looking tired, you better just call it quits here and go home for the night. And I won't tell you not to come back again because I know you'll just ignore me anyway, so go home for tonight and we'll continue this another time. So it was kind of that almost nice extra level of connection too. He's not just saying, I'm going to have you kicked out, don't come back anymore. It's like, I know you're going to come back, so almost without saying he's excited to keep talking to me, it's kind of that leaving the door open to, hey, we can talk again in the future now. Instead of saying, I'll have you kicked out, it's like, yeah, I will be here in the future, so maybe we can pick this up again next time. So that implies there should hopefully be a next time. I'm excited for that when it happens, but with that, it was time to head back to the dorm and get some sleep. So that was how the day ended. That was the end of Thursday, July 2nd. It was a really good day. I feel good about the social links I was able to work on, the progress I made there, and just to come across the end of the day and feel like all the time I spent in it was well spent. I'm not looking back on anything I did today and wishing I'd done other things. Sure, there were other things I could have done, but the choices I made, they feel like good ones, and I'm happy with the ones I made. And can you really ask for better at the end of a day? I'm very happy about that. So, I have been Tom Shima. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. It means a lot to me. I stream this Persona A Day series live every day at 12:30 Eastern Time. I've got that schedule up on Twitch that converts it to your local time if that's easier for you. But if you have a chance to ever be here live, I would love to see you live. I understand that everybody's lives are busy and we've got other obligations that have to take priority. So I do upload every day's playthrough to a playlist on YouTube as well. That way you can watch it at whatever works best for your schedule. Just whatever's the most convenient for you. There's a lot of options out there. I just hope you have a fantastic Thursday. Hopefully July 2nd is progressing just as well as the 1st. We are moving into the new month on a good note. Nice that we've got that weekend right around the corner, so hopefully we can put the end to whatever obligations we need to sooner than later. And any tasks we're working on are just coming together in as positive a way as possible. Hopefully we can all get to the end of today and look back on it and feel just as accomplished as I felt looking back on the in-game day in Persona today. But all that aside, I have been Tom Shima. It's been so great to spend some time with you, and I hope we can do it again sometime. Until then, I hope you take care, and goodbye.